Hey guys, it's Matt. I dressed up for the last video, no need to do that again. Oh boy, did the haters come out in the last video. Woo! And it is just a confirmation that this truth community is so all over the place. Um, I guess I talked 30 minutes unscripted in the last video. I should clarify a few things, but I want to address some of the comments, some of the bizarre connections that people made. People actually in the comments, because I'm challenging a video that basically called for the end of the human race, that in some way then now I'm a proponent. I'm a proponent of the action Jacksonation. How do you get there? How do you get there? So we'll go over a few things in this video. I will re-clarify my position so it's crystal clear. If you challenge a video that basically calls for, it wasn't like if this wrong term happens, he didn't present it like there's one scenario that's very, very dark. I don't think it'll happen, but if this happens and this happens and this happens and they got this wrong, this could be the end of the human race. No, he presented it more like the way they're laying it down now is the likely end of the human race, or he presented it almost like it's a probable outcome. He used the word doomed. Now, if that is the boldest prediction of all time, when you make a video saying that level of fear, that level of death, destruction, Armageddon itself, when you make a video like that, it is the boldest prediction of all time. Now, if that video doesn't deserve to be challenged, what does? I don't even think I'd be making a video in response to what Dr. Coleman put out if he said, I'm looking at the way they're planning to roll out the what I call the action Jacksonation. You know what that represents? Schedule. And there are a few. If he presented it like this, there are a few scenarios that are very dark, per a cytokine storm or adverse reaction to the immune system, where millions and millions and millions could die. If he presented it like that, I wouldn't have made that video. He presented it where one could interpret what he's saying as the likely end of the human race. If that doesn't deserve to be challenged, what does? Now, if you don't agree with what I just said, I have no idea where you're coming from. No, when somebody puts a video out, Matt, that basically calls for the likely end of the human race, it should be just bowed down to, and there should be no hardcore challenges to it. What? What? Now, guys, um, in making the presentation I made yesterday, I knew there'd be a lot of people that are very loyal to Dr. Coleman, and they wouldn't like the way I was going about it. And incredibly, people in the truth community, they use the same normie tactic to combat their cognitive dissonance, or to combat a video that they don't basically like what's being said. It's just a basic first grade mental defense mechanism. And what people do is they'll listen to a presentation, and when one mistake is made, they will latch on to that one mistake like a wolverine, and then that will be used as an excuse to invalidate or not listen to the rest of the presentation. And what people did to me in the last video, where I made my mistake, and I'll admit it was a mistake, but send me a video of you talking 30 minutes unscripted, and we'll see if everything that comes out of your mouth is absolutely perfect. Apparently, I made the mistake of saying this guy kind of popped up out of nowhere. Okay, everybody in the United States thinks the whole world revolves around the United States. Everybody in the UK thinks the whole world revolves around the UK. Okay, I said he kind of popped up out of nowhere. But let me clarify. First of all, if I made a mistake there, but let me clarify to so you understand where I was coming from. Okay, apparently he has a whole history in the UK of being anti-vaxxer, etc., etc. Okay, I was talking more about the general truth community. I'm not talking about one specific subject. I'm saying in this community, what we call the truth community. Um, People around us call us conspiracy theorists. I've been doing this about 10 years, making videos for two different channels. I've watched easily 10,000 or more truth videos over a 10-year period. For the first 5 years, just educating myself on the backs of people that are a lot smarter, people guiding me to my own viewpoints. But 10,000 videos. This is a lot of time spent, okay? I have never seen this person in our general truth community up until 2020, before 2020. Now, this is accurate. If I haven't seen him in our general truth community, spending countless thousands of hours, 10,000 videos at least over the last 10 years, then to me, he has kind of popped up out of nowhere. Okay, I take it back. He has long-standing history in the UK of being of confronting the medical establishment or anti-vax or whatever it may be. So in that I was wrong. But to latch onto that mistake and use that as a reason to invalidate or dismiss the rest of my argument is a first grade mental defense mechanism. It's basic kindergarten cognitive dissonance reaction. Because one thing has nothing to do with the other. If I said that Dr. Coleman, he appears to be about 80, but he was actually just born. He's some sort of a clone. He's 5 years old. If I said something bizarre like that, even that doesn't invalidate my argument, the general argument that if you're going to present something as bold as a action Jacksonation schedule that will create some sort of cytokine storm event or reactions to those that have taken it, where it could eventually lead to mutations and the end of the human race, me making an assessment of who Dr. Coleman is and getting that wrong has nothing to do with a video that is kind of confronting his message or pushing back on his message that the end of the human race is likely. One has nothing to do with the other. But the first grade mental defense mechanism is, oh, this made sense, I don't like what he's saying because I'm a real believer in Dr. Coleman, but Matt said this guy just popped up out of nowhere. And we know it's a long history in the UK of pushing back on the medical establishment. Because he said that, then I can then dismiss everything he's saying. First grade mental defense mechanism. That's what people did, and it's just unfair, and it's actually a little pathetic. The other thing is, I was trying to be very clear that up until now, we don't have any evidence that what Dr. Coleman in his video said. Well, we all know that they want to kill off 90 to 95%. We all know from Rockefeller, white papers, and Agenda 21, and I'm going to push back on that. Well, how do we all know that based on a few white papers and based on this and that? I was saying, well, you've lived, how old are you right now? You've lived your life up until this point. Have you witnessed a situation where a third of the world was killed off, or have you witnessed anything like that? You've lived your life up to this point. Your father, mother talk about a situation. Well, once we had this many people, and they came, what's his name? Thanos came and wiped out, a good percentage of the population. Has anything like that happened? Real history? No. But so my evidence is what really happened. The people that didn't like what I was saying, their evidence mostly was Georgia Guidestones. What? So something is carved into some stone, some mysterious stones in Georgia. They're big, vague. How did it get there? Who put it there? So something is carved into a stone. So we're supposed to use that to interpret exactly what the ruling class elite want from the human population, and that will outweigh whatever's happened in our own lives, the real history of living our lives. What's carved in a stone will outweigh that. What? Well, Matt, you're forgetting the TED Talk, where Bill Gates said one of these variables has to go to zero. Okay, so a TED Talk and a Georgia Guidestone, that outweighs what's happened in your entire lifetime, or my entire lifetime. I'm just saying, guys, I'm not going to go there and just bow down to, we all know they want to kill 90 to 95%. Just bow down to it until I see some evidence that that's actually accurate. And then the other part of the presentation, I didn't get this exactly right, so people latched onto it. Used that against me, used it as a way to dismiss my entire presentation, where my example probably wasn't perfect about, does a farmer want to kill off his livestock? And people use that against me. and said, well, Matt, there are certain cattle farmers or whatever take 90 to 95% of their herd to slaughter. First of all, you know what I meant. But second of all, just carrying, if you're going to use that example against me, just carrying it forth. Okay, so that cattle farmer then takes 90 to 95% of his herd to slaughter, and then that's it. For the rest of that cattle farmer's life, all the pastures are just empty, nothing there. But he kept this cow over here named Bessie because he developed a personal relationship with her. It's just all the fields are just empty for the rest of his life. No, there's another herd coming up, right? So and people, I mean, in the last video, I didn't talk about things how I believe the lifespan of the human being is being kept artificially low. I didn't. It just wasn't relevant to me challenging Dr. Coleman's video. I believe that the human being's lifespan is being kept artificially low. That we probably, if left to perfect water, perfect skies, perfect air, all information about what is best to eat and nutrition was made freely available, and including, I'm not even talking about the cures to diseases that they have. No doubt they have the cures to diseases. Um, if all and without that, we would probably live to 100, 120 years old. It might not be in the Bible has 2 pages listed that Methuselah's relative here or there lived 800. It's just like 2 pages of the so and so lived. That's possible. That's possible. There's no doubt we're kept artificially um, low or cold, but that's not the same as the whole 90 to 95% of the population is going to be killed off in a relatively short period of time. And that's mild compared to what Dr. Coleman was saying. He basically said this situation playing out could lead to the end of the human race, and he used the word doomed. That doesn't deserve to be challenged. So I'm sorry. I'm not going to get a chance to debate you, the people that, these haters. But I would say, what do we have up till now? We can go by our past history. Past history shows there hasn't been a situation where 90 to 95% or even a large percentage of us were just wiped out by what you call this controlling elite or this control structure. And your evidence, sir, is, well, it's carved into a rock. Okay. Now, if that evidence trumps what really happened, what am I going to say to that? That's nonsensical to me. So I guess I'll move on. People mentioned, I don't know what Richie Allen's up to. People mention, must have been on the Richie Allen show, sponsored by David Icke. He might be seems like the greatest guy in the world, but I'll give you my personal experience with that channel. Right after, I'm just going to say the city. You know what I'm talking about, what went down. The city in the United Kingdom was Manchester. Okay? There was there was a pop star. Okay. Now that was the biggest joke of all time. All right? What was laid down, what I was asked to believe was an absolute joke. Anybody that's been doing this truth thing for probably more than a week should have seen that that Manchester was an absolute joke. So I tune into Richie, and Richie's very, very sad for the victims. And now, in terms of me saying, kind of alluding to what I said earlier, that's all I needed to hear. If somebody can't see through that, I said, well, you seem like a nice guy. I'm not listening anymore, and I haven't listened since the day or two after Manchester. And no, that's not the same as somebody going back in my presentation saying, well, Matt, you said earlier in this presentation that you made a mistake about Dr. Coleman, how long he's been active. And you said he just kind of popped up out of nowhere. And you didn't want people to use, just because you made one mistake in your presentation, you didn't want people to use that against you to invalidate your entire presentation. Okay, I hear you. But when a truth host can't see through a kindergarten event, then there's only two possibilities. One is they simply aren't an evolved truther and they don't understand what's going on, or the same with the scenario I presented in the last video, or they're working for the other side. So in all this, I mean, the shill comments, everything, Matt's a troll, or the chills, or or disinformation agent, because I decided to challenge a video that basically called for the likely end of the human race. Yeah, a video that does that doesn't deserve to be challenged. And I have a whole history in what I've done here for 10 years in just being an absolute obvious shill and working for the other side. It's just, do I think, I don't think these people are like trolls or paid trolls out to discredit me. I do believe people, they like what they like the people they like, they get certain viewpoints cemented in, and even inside this truth community, it is, you present one thing that doesn't line up with their viewpoints, and they can be just as intolerant, just as intransigent, just as nonsensical in holding on to their presentations as the normies. As the normies, they cut up for not being able to see anything. I mean, the one thing we should have in this community is the ability to share and discuss alternative viewpoints freely and openly, and trying to, with empathy, or trying to understand the other person's position. And tell me more about that. I don't agree with you right now, but tell me more about where you're coming from. I don't agree. I don't agree. But see, it was the same old. You have that same normie vein running through the truth community. Just latch on like a Wolverine. Oh, you made a mistake. I'm going to latch on to it. Therefore, I don't have to listen to anything else you have to say. So, I don't. I guess I made a few notes here because I wanted to get everything out. Yeah, I guess that is about everything. Guys, I just don't. If you make a presentation that calls for the likely end of the human race, that's the boldest presentation of all time in the history of human being. Nothing has been said bolder ever, ever. That of all things deserves to be challenged, and obviously I stick by what I said in the last video. You're going to make that sort of statement, you better have your facts lined up to back up, and you better not be all over the place. You better not contradict yourself throughout the entire presentation, which he did. You better come with some real evidence, and the evidence should trump the fear. And you watch the video that I covered in the last video, it's 95% about fear, and it's about 5% about evidence. What evidence? Am I some expert in this area? No, but the way they're going to lay down the vax, certain mutations will come, cytokinic storm, reactions in the immune system. Well, I thought the word like coax was used. So if that implies it's real, is it then? If that's the case, all the people the germ theory people that say, well, how is a virus even real if it's it's not alive to begin with? So how is it killed? How do you kill something that's not alive? Everybody that that challenges germ theory should be all over the good doctor. Where were they? I don't know. I don't know. I guess I can't be any clearer in in what I have to say here. If what's carved in a rock has led you to believe that they're just plotting and planning to kill 90 to 95% of us, then I guess that's so bizarre from my perspective. There's nothing I could say that could change your mind or opinion on that. I take the opposite viewpoint, and so because I say they don't want to kill off what they consider their entire livestock. Therefore, Matt must be he's in favor of them. Again, one does not relate to the other. It's to me, my observations, it's more like a slave system laid down, or what's been laid down for a long time, more like a prison planet laid down for them considering us to be livestock. I've observed they get something from us far beyond our labors. They get something from us energetically. And even for those that are big on the Google Chrome is a browser, Google Chrome, but then there's this thing going through the truth community about the energy they get through, and it was a South Park episode recently, the Andro that, well, where are they going to harvest? Where are they going to get that from if they kill off 90 to 95% of everybody? Every Adren, Google, Chrome, the browser people, all those people should have been all over Dr. Coleman saying, well, they need people for that. So I think it's beyond the physical. I think they get something from the population energetically called loosh. I've observed that there's a reason why they put society constantly into a general state of anxiety, fear, stress, worry, etc. They harvest something energetically from that. Um, if that's the case, you don't kill off your entire form of sustenance. That's the way I interpret it. Because I challenge Dr. Coleman and say, I don't believe they want to kill 95%, and if you come with that sort of fear video, you better back it up, which he didn't. Because I challenge that, then I'm for the controllers. No, I see them as just the same asshole that everybody else does. I just see what they're laying down, and the role of the human being in their control structure is different. I don't think we're an asset to them. We've been molded very patiently by them, molded into an asset to me over hundreds of years or much, much longer. And you've molded the human being into exactly what you want it to be, to serve. Just kill it off. Don't People in their comments don't need us anymore. Spent potentially thousands of years molding society into exactly what they want. And just kill it off. How do you go there? How do you go there? You could go there if you don't see or notice how they've been very patiently molding society into what they want over a very long period of time. If you're missing that piece, then I guess somebody could say how they're just going to kill us off. So, guys, okay, I'm not going to spend any more videos addressing the trolls and the haters. I just wanted to re-clarify some of my positions. And unfortunate that a good percentage of the truth community, after doing this for this long, is that lost. Thanks for watching.